Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. This is the show where we discuss how you can find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal with a minimum profit of $25,000 right here in the local market and become a real estate investor if you're having trouble getting started. And I got to tell you guys, one of the things I love about this industry is all of the incredible mentors and coaches across the country that are doing a lot of the same stuff that I do, but in their own style. And nothing could be more stylish than the incredible Dwan Bent-Twyford. I screwed that up entirely. She is Dwanderful. Her show is Dwanderful. And without further ado, I want to bring Dwan onto the show. Dwan, how the heck are you?
Hi, honey. Thank you. That was such a great, your energy. It's like, woohoo.
Love that. Everybody says, I love that people keep saying that. Must be something to it. I appreciate it. Are you filming the show while we're filming the show?
I just took a picture of us. I forgot to take one when I was interviewing you.
Well, I'm glad we got one now.
Picture and then I'll go, look what's coming.
Well, Dwan, let's hop in right away here. You have been in the real estate industry for quite some time now, and I'd just like to get your backstory. When did you start? What have you done? I really want to talk about the big project you got going in Iowa right now, but open me up. But where did this start? Where did you first get your start in the real estate business?
So I was, so I'm going to show my age right here. So I was like in my 20s and the 80s.
Okay.
And so, very decadent, a lot of drugs and parties and dancing and discos and all the stuff.
Yes.
And I got married and had a baby in 1988. So my daughter is 35. And so I was going to like be a stay-at-home mom and do the Girl Scouts and the brownies and the homeroom mom and the field trip mom and all the stuff. And then my husband and I split up when my daughter was only 8 months old.
Wow.
So now I'm like, okay, now I'm single mom. There's no chance of repairing what's happened.
Sure.
And during that process, I had my car repossessed. I lost the house in foreclosure. I was up like $65,000 in credit card debt. Like it was like a real come to Jesus moment. And so, I'm from Ohio and had been living in Florida since I had graduated high school.
Okay.
One second. That podcast we just did, it just rendered. So everyone just give me 1 second to click the right tab. Save it. So I don't have to do it and have this thing in the middle of my face the whole time. So, my family's like, move back to Ohio. I was like, no, I'm not moving back to Ohio. I'm in Florida. I'm going to stay in Florida and I'm going to figure it out. So really, and I always tell this to people. So Donnie, anyone that's listening to you right now, they're 100 miles ahead of me because at that time, there's no RIA groups. There's no seminar people. Right. There's none of those things exist. And so I am looking for a job that I can do from home and raise my daughter and not put her in daycare. That's all I cared about was no daycare. I waited until I was 30 years old to have a child. I don't want to do what all my friends do. Drop your kids off at 7 in the morning and pick them up at 6 at night. Like, I don't want to do that. So I really just set out looking for a job I could do from home. And back in the days, probably before your time, we had to actually use the newspaper, the classified section newspaper to find jobs because there were no cell phone, internet wasn't invented, there was no Google, there were no pagers. We had to use pay phones. Like, I'm a dinosaur. And I met some people and they go, we buy houses, we fix them up, we sell them. And I was like, well, okay, they buy them, they fix them up, they sell them. That sounds like fun. I feel like I could do that. Sure. And in my mind, and this is the thing, I tell people, me being naive, I think was my best quality. Because if I knew what I was actually doing, I'm not 100% sure I would have done it.
Right.
So I heard, buy, fix it up, sell it, and that equates to me to decorating. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to paint it, put in some carpet. I'm going to have some mauve custom-made blinds, because mauve was the color. And I'm going to make money. I'm going to decorate houses. Like, oh, my God, how hard could that be? It sounds so fun. I'm doing that.
Right.
And then it turns out it's rehabbing. Yes. And I had no rehab skills except for like carpet and paint and some basic stuff. And so I started going to the Home Depot and taking classes.
Oh, wow.
And I remember taking a tile class and I was like, okay, because I need to tile the bathroom. I don't have any people and I'm living on credit cards. And my biggest credit card is my Home Depot card. I took a tile class on a Saturday and I was like, oh, and I went home, measured the kitchen, drove back. I'm like, okay, here's what I need. And they load me up and I tiled a whole entire kitchen, My first thing, kitchen, not even like starting with the bathroom, whole kitchen. I was like, oh, I like tiling. So I did the bathrooms and I tiled up the walls, I tiled the cabinets, I started tiling everything. And I learned how to, like make screens and put up fans and put in toilets. And Ayla would be sleeping at night and I'd be building cabinets and making screens and things while she was sleeping. And she was with me. So I moved into this house with the intention of like decorating and then
Right.
selling. And it was actually rehabbing. And so I learned how to become a rehabber.
I love
I made
this.
$22,000 on my first deal. This is like
Wow.
that's a whole year's salary for an average person.
That's big
Like
money.
an,
Yeah.
like an average person, if you're like an engineer or something, you were like 32,000.
Sure, you were
I made a
crushing
whole
it.
year's salary in one deal, and I was like, Ayla was with me every day. This was super fun. I enjoyed doing it, and I tell people, if you're going through a bad breakup or divorce, rehab a house yourself. When you're using that sledgehammer and you're like tearing off the cabinets and you're busting things up,
all your stress.
all your stuff. At the end, I was like, oh, I feel amazing. I've got 22 grand. My daughter's with me. That's right. And then I did it again and again and again. And now it's like 32 years later and I've done over 2,000 deals.
Holy smokes, 2,000 deals.
Yep.
Are they all? You're based in Colorado primarily, but where else were the deals at besides that?
Well, I started in Florida. So and you're too young to remember this, but some other people might. There was this giant blizzard in the Midwest. I'm from Ohio, called the Blizzard of '78. They made T-shirts. They still make T-shirts. I survived the Blizzard of '78. And so I graduated high school in '77. The blizzard came, and I was like, literally, when this shit melts, I'm moving to Florida. I'm so tired of this cold Midwestern weather. So I moved to Florida, like 19 years old. I just moved to Florida by myself. I was like, I'll figure it out. I don't know. I'll just rent like a little efficiency and I'll get a job and whatever, as long as it's not Ohio. Which now, I'm in Colorado, but it is true. The cold humidity and the dry humidity, it is different. And people go, you're back in the cold. I'm like, no, I swear to God, it's really different.
We just recorded your show before this show, and you made me come up with a word, single word, and then describe it. And the word was courage. My word was courage, but that's a really courageous story. I mean, what do you tell people getting into real estate investing now? What's the key element to just getting started? What do you need?
Well, I tell people, first of all, I tell people you need someone to coach and mentor you or guide you, because I did not have, there's none of that, literally none of that existed. So I went to Home Depot all the time, and that's how I learned. I didn't have money to hire people. I was like 3 houses in before I could hire some guys, and I'm also those guys. And by then a RIA group had opened up, so I met a few people and I had a couple contractors, and it took me probably 2 years to be able to do like 2 houses at the same time, and so me, and I think if someone had said, oh, I knocked on doors. I found this woman. She's in trouble. I'm in trouble. I say, hey, I think I can help you. You move out. I'll move in. I'll fix it up. We'll split it. I did like an equity partnering deal on like a hug and a handshake. And so
incredible.
I look back and I'm just like, if someone came to me and said, hey, listen, I met a homeowner. We had a hug and a handshake. We're doing a deal. I'd be like, are you out of your mind? So
you locked up.
If I was going to take advantage of her, I didn't know. And Barbara and I like hugged it out, and she moved. I moved in. I had Ava with me. I lived in it, rehabbed it. I did that for like the first 5 deals. So I tell people the first thing, honestly, is you've got to have someone help you.
Yes.
Because I am the exception to the rule. Yes. I did it and I became successful. And honestly, I think the part of it was because I was so naive. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And if I had known all the things, I may not have done it, but I was like, how hard could it be? And as you know, rehabbing and decorating, not the same thing.
No, it's not. It's not at all the same thing.
I was really stunned. I'm not even joking. I remember I had carpet and I painted and I had custom made blinds. I put in plants, I hung pictures, and I thought, wow. And I remember looking around like, this place needs so much work. The cabinets are shitty and everything's yellow and green avocado, and like, oh, I need so much work. I was like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. And so I was super shocked, but I was good at it. And I actually like rehabbing. I like fixing things. I like building and taking things back to the original way. So first step is I tell people just please don't do it by yourself. There's too many people like you and me out there.
Yes.
And most people in my situation would have done a deal or two and probably caved.
Yes.
But God just opened that door and wanted me on that path. So my first year was like really easy. But as I got into more and learning more, then I saw the challenges. And then I was like, I need to really start writing this stuff down and taking some notes, and I need to meet some other people that are doing this that can like give me some advice and stuff. And it took me the whole 2 years to get like a title company and a mortgage broker and to find a team. The first couple of years, I just buy me and knock on doors with my baby on my hip and, hey, I see you're on foreclosure. I want to buy your house. And
that's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, fast forward. I look back and like, I can't even believe I did that.
Well, fast forward quite a few years. You definitely don't look like you've been in the industry as long as you have, for sure. So that's awesome.
I'm proud to say I'm 65 years old.
Are you serious?
I swear.
I'm going to need to see some ID, Dwan. I don't know if I believe you.
See, right there, you brownie points just for that.
65
this year.
You've seen some market changes in that amount of time that the 30 years has been doing this. We're in a market shift now. Would you agree that things are kind of shifting today?
Mm-hmm.
How are you negotiating?
I think the market's always shifting. We're not ever like this is the market. It's always like this is the market now.
Yes. How are you doing things? Has anything changed in the last few years since the big interest rate hike of 22? Have you done anything differently? Are you doing as many remodels? Or are you focused more on buy and hold? What are you focusing your energy on now in the investing space?
Well, so my husband and I had started to tell you a little bit about this when I was interviewing you, but I was trying to keep the interview to you, even though you and I interjected a lot. I was like, I freaking love this guy. As I wanted to tell you all my stuff. But a couple years ago, my husband and I, he's from Clinton, Iowa, and I'm from Dayton, Ohio. So we're like Midwestern people. I was living in Florida, and I had been doing deals for a couple years, and some people were like, hey, we opened a RIA group. Why don't you come and teach? And I was like, well, I don't know how to teach. What would I teach? Like, well, tell people what you're doing. Like, you're a single woman, and you're working, and you're rehabbing houses, and your daughter's with you, and you bring her to meetings, and like, so people started asking me to come speak. And I was like, okay. I guess. And I was terrified the first couple of times. I was like, oh my God, how can people do this for a living? I'm going to die. And then people, I don't know, somehow people just started telling other RIA groups about me.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting asked to speak in Colorado, in Denver, for Bill Bronchick. Okay. You probably know Bill Bronchick.
Oh, no, Bill very well. Very well.
So he had me and my partner Sharon come speak like 24 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And that's where I met my husband.
Oh, that's awesome.
There. So he's in Colorado. I'm in Florida. I'm like, I totally want to marry you, but I love Florida. So if we can keep both houses, that's fine. But if you want me to live in the cold year round, that's a deal breaker because I already did that.
Yeah, right. Been there.
So I met Bill. So we kept the house in Florida. This is my backyard, actually, in Florida. And we built a house up there. He was rehabbing at the time we got married. So we just took that rehab. It was tiny. It was like a rectangular, tiny little house, but it's way in the mountains, really beautiful. So we just said, we'll take this house and just, make it bigger. Yeah. And so that's where we live. And so all of that is we started we go to his high school reunions, we go to my high school reunions, and we come to this little town in Clinton, Iowa. So I don't even know. It's like Clinton, and like there's a bridge, and right there is Illinois. So we're right on the river, Mississippi, and there's Illinois. And every time we came back to this town, I'm like, this town is so cute. I don't understand why it's so dead. It's like time left it behind.
Sure.
And just only like 5 years ago.
Okay.
After like 4 reunions, we came and we talked to someone like the city and said, hey, is there something going on? There's all these boarded up buildings. There's a few businesses here and there. Like, what's happening? And found out there's like a city re-beautification thing. So they have it's an opportunity zone. The whole downtown's opportunity zone. There's all kinds of grants. There's all kinds of money. There's all kinds of stuff for investors. So I was like, we should buy a building. Like, that would be fun to buy a building in Clinton and find one that has, a little space upstairs, like where I'm at right now. We can stay in the apartment and have a little business downstairs. And so Bill and I don't have a risk factor limit. So in the last couple of years, we bought 20 buildings.
Jeez Louise.
This is supposed to be like
one building in downtown Iowa to we now own pretty much the entire city of downtown Iowa. That's incredible.
We control the vote.
That's amazing.
We control the vote. That's so we have 28 parcels. So, so we're just like, and so neither of us have ever really done anything commercial, both of us. So I'm doing something now that I've actually never really done. I've had a few commercial little buildings here and there.
Right.
That we've never either one done this. So we're like, oh, this will be fun. Like we've been investing. We've got 30 years under our belt. Our risk factor is off the charts. And so we got a building. And so the building that we got is it's 20,000 square feet. It's on the corner of the downtown. It was only $35,000.
For 20,000 square foot building, that's insane.
Now you and I used to call renter prices, so I was like,
right.
What's wrong with it? Why is it so cheap?
Right,
It's because it's in Clinton, Iowa.
Sure.
And then we bought another one, and then we bought another one, and then this person told this lady, hey, the Twyfords bought my building, and then like Carol called and said, my husband's been deceased over a year. I want to move to Florida. I've got 3 buildings. They're just sitting there. Would you take them? We're like,
sure.
Only if you want to finance them. And then she told her friend, and then she told her friend. And next thing you know, we bought all the building from all the little old ladies, and the owner financed 100% of everything.
That's amazing. And you've revolutionized a city that's going to come around because you're helping out. I mean, in the end, it's like, it's not just about the money you've made on that deal. At some point, you've really changed the face of that city.
Well, it's changing. It's been a couple years. So we slated it like as a 5-year project.
Okay.
But then my husband went through a really terrible blood cancer. So we took 2 years, and he had a full, he's great. He had a full bone marrow transplant, full bone marrow, new person, new everything. He's ticklish. His blood type used to be A. Now his blood type is O.
Wow.
His hair is a different color. He's a new person. His DNA matched a 23-year-old female. So it's been 2 years. I'm like, now you got that 25-year-old female DNA. And
there you go.
For me, like, it's so weird. It's so weird. So we took 2 years, we're just leaving the city for a minute. And so actually we're just back. You and I are talking now. It's May. So we're just really back really for the first time in 2 years, other than like a quick visit here or there. We're staying the entire summer. We're working on our buildings. We're participating in all the little downtown meetings and all the stuff like that. But just since we were started till now, it's such more active down here. Yeah. Like last night, every spot was taken because there was live music, and there's a couple restaurants that opened down here, and a couple more antique malls and different things. So like having such a long break, we can actually see the difference in the activity.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, wait, all of our buildings
you're changing the city.
And they're all rented.
That's so cool.
And we'll be like the king and queen of Clinton. So right now, I'm still working on our own buildings. Like we're obviously coaching and mentoring, and we have a RIA group. We run the Colorado RIA in Denver. We run the RIA group. We teach nationwide. I travel once a month to RIA groups around the country and teach the stuff. But for right this very minute, we're like super having fun with this new thing.
Yeah.
It's like a giant new toy.
It's really cool. And, we're doing a lot of that in Pueblo. Pueblo's 30 miles south of Colorado Springs, and it's a little tiny town. It needs a lot of revitalization and gentrification, but it seems investors are finding better deals, right, in these smaller towns because they've been untouched for so long. I mean, obviously you're in Iowa right now, but would you encourage investors looking in these tiny towns to find flips and deals like that?
I would. And I'll tell you something. Pueblo is a gold mine.
I agree.
Bill and I have been over there a few times the last couple of years, and I'm like, this is a town that somebody needs to grab hold of.
Yes.
And like what we're doing in Clinton, someone needs to grab this town because it is a gold mine. It just needs someone to come in. Because, the thing in Pueblo is, which is you. I mean, Donnie, that's you need to be like the king of Pueblo.
I feel like I'm heading that way. I really do.
Because it's like you go and you drive the streets. And we were just over there. Gosh, I don't even know. A few months ago, the fair, whenever the fair was.
Oh yeah, the state county fair, state fair.
We took my granddaughters to see Pat Benatar.
Oh, that's so cool.
We're teaching the kids. We're teaching them about music.
That's right.
And so we were, teenagers in the 70s, and I told Bill, I said, listen, because the kids, my daughter-in-law, she's like new country. And I said to my husband, I'm like, I want to teach the kids about music, but it's like, really, after the 70s, there's a lot of cursing in the music.
That's true.
And the 70s is like the last decade where no one is saying
Was
any.
allowed to, right?
People didn't even say like the word shit, like
Right.
nothing.
That's a big deal.
So it's like I can't. And now they use the F word in like all
I know.
genres. It's like, oh my god, like what
It's
happened?
crazy how much has changed. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so it's sad, but country's still kind of pure. So country's still, got
Yeah,
that.
so a little cleaner, right? The Darius
It's
Rucker. We're
cleaner.
talking about Darius Rucker and my fanboy experience is coming up. I'm going to save the details of that for another show. But Dwan, I get a lot of people are trying to get into the game right now because of the market shift, and they're looking for mentorship. They're trying to find people with your level of experience. I know you're running a RIA. You've got a bunch of people in there. What do you have any common traits that you found of people that are good fit for getting into real estate investing? Is there an avatar you're going after for your coaching program typically?
It's funny. I have so many people that come to the Denver to our RIA that are engineers.
Okay.
Like a surprising amount of engineers, and they don't like it. I mean, like 3 or 4 of our top students from the RIA are engineers, master's degrees. They're like, 27 to like 32, like, oh, I'm doing it, I don't like it. And they just, I don't know, a lot, a surprising amount. And so I feel like there's a lot of people that, a lot of millennials are getting in because a lot of them went to college, they have their job in their field, or they can't get a job in their field. They're not making what they thought they would make.
Yes.
And they're a little bit like dissatisfied with that. And there's a lot of people that are like my boomers, my age, and they don't have enough to retire on. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to work till I'm 75 years old. And they're like, I just want to buy some houses and fix them up. And we want to keep busy. And
yes.
So there's not an exact avatar, but it's just the younger people seem to be more dissatisfied
with their current life.
Thought they were going to be doing, or they can't get a job in what they want to do. And the older people that were like, we were more raised to work for the man.
That's
there's
right.
There's no man. Like, what man do we work for? There's no man anymore. My parents worked for like the car companies, General Motors, and man, and it's like, well, that doesn't even exist now. So there's a lot of people that are older, like they're 45, 50, and they're like, dang, I don't think I'm going to be able to retire. And I feel like those people really are into the fixing, the flipping, keeping some for rentals.
Yeah.
Building some long-term wealth,
Absolutely.
And Bill and I, we're just trying to create generational wealth.
That's how I feel too. And I think real estate investing is one of the key ways to do that. Unless you're a movie star or a sports star, real estate's one of the surefire ways to build that generational wealth. But like you mentioned, the guidance is so important. If you're jaded in your current career, you're more likely to make a mistake, I think, because you're so eager to do a deal, they're not paying attention, So getting that assistance and help and the coaching side is so important. Do you have a strategy you follow primarily on the fix and flip? Or what's your favorite strategy to use for real estate?
Oh, honestly, I started like in Florida. So I worked in for a decade in Palm Beach County. And after I rehabbed a few houses, I discovered wholesaling. I was like, oh, you mean I can just like talk to the homeowner and sell it to a rehabber and like take an assignment fee? So I became like an insane wholesaler. I wholesaled like 1,000 houses in a decade. Wow. I lost my mind because I was like, I don't have to fix these houses, and I already know how to door knock. I take my daughter. I'm already got my title company. I got all my people lined up. I was just like, just wholesaling houses like a crazy person.
Right.
And so I got out of rehabbing for a while, and not like fully, but just not as much. And then Bill and I got married 22 years ago. So then we started rehabbing kind of in the mountains.
Okay.
And up in the mountains, it's not as strict. Like, everyone's got 4 acres or 5 acres or 10 acres, and you can have a house this big or a house that big.
Sure.
Just make a difference.
Right.
So there's really not any restrictions up there. So we started rehabbing up there, but so I think I feel like people should learn. First of all, I think people should own rentals. So whether you want to have single family homes or you want to have multi-unit buildings or whatever you want to do, I think you should own rentals. Because at the end of the day, when you want to retire, you want some passive income that's coming in.
Absolutely.
So I feel like everyone should own some rentals, everybody. So I encourage people why don't you flip 3 or 4 houses and buy a rental, and flip a few houses and buy a rental. And like a place like Pueblo, it's like Clinton, Iowa. You can buy a really cute 3-bed, 2-bath house for $60,000 that rents for $1,000.
Yep. Easy.
So why would you not do that? Because in Denver, you're gonna find a 3-bed, 2-bath house for $400,000.
That's right.
$1,800.
Right. That won't cover its debt service.
And go to Pueblo, or take the $400,000 and come to Clinton and buy
Several.
8.
Right.
Instead of 1.
I love that.
8 times your money. So I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of Pueblo. I think if we were spending more time in Colorado right now, I would want to be working in the Pueblo area, because you can see it. You can see it turning.
Yes, 100%. And we're trying to be part of that turn with my clients, where we're looking at that market and going, now is the time to be investing in that market, because it's on that precipice of, Colorado Springs. Denver is too expensive. Colorado Springs has gotten too expensive, right?
Yeah.
Pueblo's people are going to feed into Pueblo just because that's where the affordable houses are. So it's awesome that you have that insight as well.
Oh, yeah. So like I said, when we were there for the fair, and I had been there 3 or 4 times the year before, just driving over, looking around, I was like, man, if we weren't like all deep in Iowa, I feel like I'd be all deep over there. But weirdly enough, that's like too far to drive and stuff from us. Sure. Even though this is 13 hours, when we come here for like 3 months.
Yeah. Right.
Like we have an apartment here, so we like live here for a while.
Right. You reside there. That makes more sense.
I'm living in the Midwest this summer. I'm going to all the music on the avenue. I'm going to all the concerts. They're having a big country tailgate and tall boys 3-day thing, and Jelly Roll's coming. I'm like, gonna go.
I'm going to come down to Iowa. Come up to Iowa for that. That might be worth the trip.
I'm trying to meet Jelly Roll.
I'll bring my guitar. We'll jam out. It'll be a blast.
I'm telling you. So I don't know. It's fun. The Midwest. I forgot how fun the Midwest is.
That's awesome. Well, Dwan, I try to keep these to about 30 minutes. Do you have any parting thoughts for investors who want to get involved in the game, don't know where to you started literally with nothing, built yourself this massive empire. You've done thousands of deals now, but you had to start with that first step. What would you tell somebody in your spot who wants to get started in real estate investing? What would be their first step, in your opinion?
Well, can I give 2 first steps? The first step is don't listen to all the naysayers, because there's a lot of people that when you say the words, I'm going to work with Donnie, I'm going to work with Dwan, I'm going to become an investor. Oh, you can't do that. That's get rich quick, . So you have to get rid of those people, or at least shut them out. Yes. Because your family and all your things, they're not your friends. Mm-hmm. And, they are, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I do. And the second thing is you need to find someone to work with that can cut your learning curve. Like, this wheel is invented already. We don't need to reinvent anything in the real estate investing. People rename things, but if you rename people, something new, they're new. It's like a new name. It's like, no. Those were done in like the 1800s. Yes. So people, it's this. And it's like, no, everything was already been done. So find someone that's done it, is continuing to do it, and who has a heart to actually teach you and help you. And that's your first step. If you do find someone that genuinely wants to help you, you'll do fine.
I love that. That's great advice. And Dwan, I really appreciate having you on the show. I'd love to meet you in person when you get back in town for your Colorado RIA event. Let's get together and connect on that. But I thank you so much for your time. It's incredible to have you on the show. You are a legend in the industry, and it's such an honor to have you on the show and talk about it. A lot of people get in touch with you. We've got the Dwanderful.com, but let's conclude with how people can reach out to you if they'd like to learn more from you.
So Dwanderful. So I took my name Dwan and Wonderful, and I made a new word. So Wonderful. It's like, I play on my name. I'm the only person I know named Dwan until I met the RIA group leader in Colorado Springs. Her name's Dwan. I was like, what? How is that possible? So Dwanderful.com. Also, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, YouTube, all the places.
Love it. Well, love if people track you down and learn more about your system. Dwan, it's a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, guys, you heard it here. Listen, Dwan is a legend in the industry, and she's really helped a lot of people to advance their real estate investing career. The advice she's giving is pretty sound. Go to the smaller towns, look at the places that are more affordable, and start revitalizing neighborhoods that currently need our help more than ever. Take that advice. If you want to get started with coaching, I'm here for you. Reach out, slide up in my DMs. Let's see if we can work together. If Dwan seems like a good fit for you, head out to Dwanderful.com, learn more about her system, how she can help out. With that, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. Thanking you so much for tuning in and reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.